Hi there. My name is Robbin Degeratu, and I work for Center County Library and Historical Museum as a librarian. And my area of specialty is actually helping people with genealogical and historical research. So I thought it might be interesting to tie this into the summer learning program and issue a challenge, which I'm calling the Book of Life Challenge. We deal with genealogists of all ages, but regardless of when they were born, we always tell them to start with themselves and to start by telling their own story before they try to tell their ancestors' stories. So that's what we're challenging you to kind of start doing today. So in the Book of Life Challenge, you are asked to create either a digital or a real-life kind of scrapbook that tells your life story so far. So what you want to do is start maybe by thinking about the people who came before you. You are going to tell your story, but it's kind of nice to think about the people who came before you, whether they're your parents or your grandparents, step-parents or adoptive parents, whomever. Then from there, you're going to start with yourself and find something that kind of documents you and who you are. Maybe it's a birth announcement that was printed in a newspaper or a baby photograph. Maybe it's an adoption certificate. Maybe you were baptized and you have a certificate from that. Any of those items would be an artifact that documents when you were born. But the year you were born, lots of things were happening regardless of when that was. So you're also going to include in this digital or real-life scrapbook some artifacts that tell the story of what was happening in the world the year you were born. So if you were born in 2005, what was happening in the world in 2005? So you might find artifacts that deal with events happening in 2005, what was going on in politics, or if you're not interested in what was going on in politics, how about sports, entertainment, technology? Think about how much technology has come, think about how far it has come in the last 10 or 15 years. Health, science, these are all different things that you can kind of look into what was happening the year you were born. And then you're going to think about different artifacts you can find that document what's going on in the world right now. So what is an artifact that documents what's happening in 2020? And again, you're going to think about current events, politics, sports, entertainment, technology, health, science. Those are all different areas that you can draw on when you are building this book of life. So this particular challenge is a little bit different because you can kind of do most of what you need from home if you have an internet connection or anywhere you have an internet connection. But first, you're actually going to start completely offline by just looking around your house and seeing what you have. Do you have any photographs of yourself, or maybe your family members? Maybe you have family photos. Start there. Your next step might be to look at Ancestry Library Edition. So Ancestry Library Edition is powered by Ancestry.com, which you've probably seen commercials or ads for. Ancestry is a really robust genealogy research website, and you have free access to it with your library card, and right now we're able to provide you that access from the comfort of your own home with an internet connection. So Ancestry is going to be helpful for looking into the story of the people who came before you. So after you've kind of found some things around your house that document when you were born, and after you've made some progress researching the people who came before you, you'll want to start thinking about collecting artifacts from the year you were born and from the year 2020. And those are those artifacts that kind of document politics or events, sports, entertainment, all of those things that we talked about just a minute ago. So if you don't have artifacts laying around your house, things like old newspapers, that's fine. You can actually find a lot of information from your computer with an internet connection by going to the library website. So we have access to Power Library resources, or give you access, and all you need to have to access them is your library card number. So on our website, to access Power Library, all you'll need to do is hover over digital content and then click on Research Tools. You click on Research Tools, the first result that you'll see is Power Library. There are two databases on there that are extremely helpful. AP Newsroom is a great resource for photos from throughout the last 30 years. That's a really great resource. InfoTrack is another database, and it's helpful for more recent information. So I would say the last 10 or so years. So it's definitely going to be helpful for 2020. Definitely worth looking into. So in addition to library resources, you are, of course, welcome to use authoritative websites. So when I say authoritative, what I mean is it's a website that is able to be trusted as being accurate or true. It's a reliable website. Just like if you had a health concern, you wouldn't necessarily go to Dr. Bob's medical blog to figure out what was going on. You want to kind of apply that same thinking to any type of research that you're doing. Some authoritative websites that I like to direct people to for this type of research that you're doing for this project are AP News, so the Associated Press has reporters all over the world. They still have feet on the ground everywhere. They provide balanced reporting, so they tend to be a reliable resource. Another great source is the National Archives, which is part of the United States government. And that's incredibly helpful for finding things from the past. So an archive typically holds items that are older, but even if you were born 15 years ago, maybe you're 15 years old, the National Archives has items from the year that you were born. I do want to make one note about a resource that I think gets a pretty bad rep, and that's Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a website that would necessarily be described as authoritative, since really anyone can create an account and edit a page. But with that said, it's a great starting off point for research. Some Wikipedia pages link to reputable websites or provide context for things you might not know about. So, for example, the Wikipedia page for the year 2005, to use that as an example again, gives an overview of lots of things that were happening in the world that you can research using reputable sources. So it's a good first stop, but it's not your last stop for research. Using those resources, you're going to download or print off or whatever. You're going to capture articles, photographs, video, really whatever. And you're going to assemble them in whatever way makes sense to you. Maybe you want to make a physical scrapbook or a file folder. Maybe you want to keep things digital and you just want to download the files to your computer. That's absolutely fine. This is your book of your life so far, so you should make it look like whatever you want it to look like. But when you're finished, do take a minute and share it with your family or maybe interested friends just so that they can see. If you're on social media, do feel free to take a photograph of your work and send it to the library. We are on social. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Caveat, don't share any sensitive information on social media. I'm sure we don't need to tell you that. But then before you're finished, take a minute to log into the Book Points website and claim the Virtual Learner badge in the Reader dashboard by clicking Claim under Attend a Library Program Virtually.